Welcome to video 16 in the series, and I think we're almost done making the loop. So the game should be playable with a melee class, and in this one we're going to cover menus. So when the battle ends, a menu should pop up, and it should give you a few options to, let's say, go back to main menu, select your character, or it tells you to retry the level if you failed. So let's start this first segment by going into the widgets folder and creating a new widget. I'll call this battle menu. Now in battle menu, let's go and put a horizontal box. Oh no, let's put a vertical one. Now in here, let's go get a text. Align it to the center. Let's also get a progress bar. Actually no, let's put another text first. This one we'll call it performance. And I'll put the text smaller. Then I'll get a progress bar and I'll put it underneath. I'll leave that as is. Then let's see what border is. No, I don't need a border. I want to put a spacer. Yeah, that works. Okay, so put a spacer, and I'm gonna make a bit of space, and then let's put two buttons. I'll add another spacer. Increase this Y size to 20, and another button. Now let's put a text in both of these buttons. The first one will be called menu, and the second one will be called retry. I'm just gonna change the color of these boxes a little bit. So menu and retry. So what performance is gonna do is it's gonna check let's say how much damage you received or how much damage you dealt. I don't really know what the factor will be, but in the end it's gonna fill up based on how well you performed in the game. So I'm just gonna save this, and I'm gonna go to the boss, and let's go get his death event. So here, after he dies, we can create a widget blueprint. And then I'm gonna go get the one I just made, and it was called battle menu. Add to viewport. Oh, loud noise outside. Get player controller, sorry for that. Set show mouse cursor. And you want to show the mouse cursor for the player. Next, let's go back to our battle menu widget. Now I know this text box here is going to change to either you win or you lose. So let's go create binding. Promote this to a variable. We'll call it win lose display. I'm also gonna make it editable in my boss blueprint. I'm gonna drag this out. Actually, let me compile. Yeah, I compiled. So let's drag this out. Set win lose display. And here you want to type in you win. So let's compile and test that out and see what happens. Now, oops, clicked the wrong place. Since I still have my hack on, I'm just going to use it to destroy the boss fast. Yeah, you win. So now I have my menu on my screen and I could click any of these buttons and my performance bar would fill up. So that takes care of this segment of the video, and the next one we're gonna work towards you lose. So for this segment, let's go back to our warrior blueprint, and we're gonna do the same thing we did with the boss. So go into the blue boss blueprint, and you just wanna copy all this, and you paste it into the warrior. Make sure you paste it in his get damage region. This is where he's getting damage. And after his fail animation, you want to plug this in. So this way when you're dead, it's gonna say you lose. So let's try that out. The fun part is calculating performance, because you can really decide what it is that you want to use to calculate. Do you want to check how much overall health the player lost, or do you want to check like how many times he left click? You know, that's combo. The more you click, that means the more you had to dish out damage. Maybe he was using less scales, and there could be a whole bunch of factors in there. But the one I like to use, oh look, it worked. It's how much damage I received. So I check how much damage, and if I have between this and that amount, well, I can fill up the performance bar or give a rank to the player. So we're gonna start to cover that in the next video, and then we're gonna, not in the next video, sorry, the next segment, and we're also gonna cover the menus to reset and retry, all that stuff. Okay, so let's go and do the performance bar. So here what I'm gonna do is go into general, and I'm gonna make a new blueprint class. I want to type in game instance, and it should be right here at the bottom. So let's select that and call it arena_GI for game instance. Open that up and make a new variable. We'll call it player score. Click the eyeball and turn this into a float. Next thing you want to do is compile. Go into your project settings and maps and modes. All the way at the bottom, you should select Arena GI if it isn't already selected. So close that, and let's go to our warrior blueprint. Now what you need in the warrior blueprint is a custom event, so I'm just going to copy this custom event, paste it here, and rename it. I'm going to call this performance. Next, I need to create float variables, so I'm just going to duplicate these, and I'm going to call this DMG taken. I'm going to compile just to make sure the value here is 0. Okay, now I'm going to duplicate DMG taken and call it DMG dealt. So what I want to do is here, after damage has been set, or after damage gets divided by armor, I want to set damage taken. This is getting pretty tight, so I'm just going to move some nodes around. Okay, so damage taken, you want to get it, and you want to do float plus float, and hook it up right here. You put that into damage taken. Next, we're gonna go to do damage, and just gonna move all this to the side. Next, I'm gonna get damage dealt, and I'm gonna set it twice, one for each path. Next, what you want to do is add to this damage dealt, and you want to get random float in range for minimum and maximum damage, and then you plug this into both these damage dealt nodes. Next, let's go back to our performance custom event. Let's get damage taken and damage dealt. Now here you want to add a float for both of them, and you only want to add one. And then you want to divide. Well, in my case, let's say I'm going to divide my damage dealt by how much damage I took, and that's going to determine my performance. So basically my output and input, what I'm dishing and what I'm getting. So here I divide these two, and what I want to get now is get game instance. From here I want to cast to Arena GI, the only one I have there. From my Arena GI I want to set score and plug it in like so, the green with the green and the inputs together. I'm going to comment this, and I'm going to call it performance check. I'm going to need to call this custom event right after damage taken, and I'm just going to copy this, go all the way down to where I'm doing damage, and paste it at the end of applied damage. So when it's done applying damage, it's going to run this event, and it's going to have the variables updated. The reason why you would do +1 is, let's say you score a perfect round, so you don't take any damage, and if this was 0 but your damage dealt was, I don't know, 1000, it would do 1000 divided by 0 and your player score would be 0. So you want it to be 1 at least. Now that we have this, let's go to our widgets. Let's go into battle menu and go to your performance bar here, your progress bar, and you want to bind the percentage. And let's go back again. This one is just purely for aesthetics, appearance. You want to bind this too. Return value here, drag out and promote a variable. I'll just call it color. And my progress bar variable, promote that too, and I'll call it progress. Going to my event graph, at event begin construct, first let's get game instance, then let's cast the game instance, our Arena GI. So when the event is constructed, it's going to cast to this and it's going to get player score. What it will do is normalize to range. So your player score, let's say it's 22. Well, if I put max range at 22, this will result to a value of 1, which means 100%. If I put this to 44, it results in a value of 0.5, so 50%. So if my player score was 22 and my max range was 44, then my performance would be at 50%. That's where my progress bar would be. But just for demonstration purpose, I'll put this to 100. So if ever my player score, which is basically my input divided by output, so how much damage I have dealt and how much I've taken. So the division between these two, if it's 20, well, your progress bar fills up to 20%. If that was confusing, just write in the comment or rewatch that section. So here you're going to set it, and then let's run 3 branches. So here you want to check if progress is less than or equal to, and I'm also going to get a greater than or equal to node. I'm going to copy this one, and then I'm going to copy the greater than or equal to. These two I want to get and plug that into the condition. So I'm plugging in all my nodes into the condition. Next I'm going to plug all the branches together from false. Now I want to type in numbers here. So if it's less than 25, my progress, actually if it's less than 25, it should equal to a low performance. If it's greater than or equal to 26, oh, forgot to plug this one, but it's less than 75, it'll be mid-level, and here I'm going to plug that in, and if it's greater than 76, then it's going to be good. Now I'm sure when I'm going to troubleshoot, or I'm going to test, it's going to give me some problems, so I'm going to be troubleshooting that. let's get color. Not get. I mean, let's get it so we can set it. Here, you want to set it 3 times. And we'll change the color here. Let's put this one red. Let's put this one yellow. And let's put the last one green. Basically like a traffic light. So now let's test it out, and we're probably gonna meddle around here afterwards. So you can see my performance was pretty low, even though it's somewhere around 25. So I'm going to pause the video and we're going to troubleshoot that. So in this segment we're going to work on the retry button. And what it's going to do, it's going to reset all your stats and it's going to put you back into the beginning position, so exactly where you spawn in the level. To start with that, let's make, in our general folder, let's make a blueprint interface. So blueprint interface and BPI underscore menu. Go into that, and the first function that appears, call it retry. You're going to compile this, and now we're going to have to go into our boss blueprint. We need our warrior blueprint, and we also need our battle menu. Now here in retry you can add a clicked event. Next, what you want to do is go into class settings and add BPI menu. Compile. I'm just going to open BPI menu because I know I'm going to need it later. Okay, back to battle menu. Here, I believe it was message. Retry message. So I'm going to plug this in. And for my target, since I want to call it to my boss and my player at the same time, I'm going to type in get actor, get all actors of class, and here you want to select character and connect out actors to target. Now if you notice, in warrior BP, parent class is character and so is blue boss. This means it's gonna go and cast this event to every one of them. And I'm not sure if isValid can work in this. No. But if anyone has an issue or an error with something that doesn't exist in the level, message me or write a comment and I'll check into it. Next, what I want to do is go into warrior blueprint class setting. I want to add the BPI menu here. I'm gonna compile and I'm gonna type in event retry. Once I have this, I'm gonna go to initialize, move event begin play up, set health to 1. This is just for testing. Here I want to put a do once. Next, I'll make a custom event and I'll call it initialize. Plug that into the beginning, and actually here after alive, I'm gonna get my reset combo. The reason why I'm getting reset combo, even though I have a bunch of other resets, is my reset combo does a bunch of different things and it resets a whole lot of them. Sets the smash, dodge attack, and energy regen. So all this stuff I know I want to reset, and maybe some extra things that might be floating around in this blueprint, but as I troubleshoot I'm going to come back to them. One example would be a reset dash attack, for example. It's not up there. I don't think it's up here. Okay, it is, but I think reset dodge, that was the one. It's not in the line, so I could add it if I have issues with it. So here in event retry, I want to get a teleport node, and I also want to get it initialize. For teleporting, I wanted to reset my character back here. So I'm just going to copy this value, and 200, 350 are my other two value. So 200, 350. Next, for his rotation, if I want him to face the boss, well, then I'm gonna have to go look at the boss's position and get the whole thing and input all the values. But I'm not gonna do that because you know how to do it, so you'll take care of it. Here I'm gonna comment this and type retry. In blue boss, I'm gonna have to do the same thing. First in initialize boss, I'm gonna put a do once after this, because when you hit retry, this whole code gets executed, so you don't want that. Then I'm gonna type in event retry. Oh, I have to put in the blueprint first, the BPI menu. Compile and event retry. Once you have that, you want to get a teleport node too, and you want, where is it? This initialize custom event. Now, if you have an issue with the boss getting stuck in an attack or something like that, at initialize, it's probably a good idea, depending on your case, to put is attacking to false. Okay, but that's something that you'll figure out with testing. So here I'm gonna get the boss's location, so -40, 226. Those are my two other variables. -40, 226. And I want him to face the player, so I'm gonna go get face player. Here, I'm gonna execute this little event too. So when he's done initializing, he's gonna face player here. So I'm gonna comment this and call it retry. Now I'm gonna test this, and if anything goes wrong, I'll troubleshoot it and explain it in this next segment. So here we got both of them reset. Now the next thing is to hide the mouse and hide the menu. And you would want to put this in both of the retries, because sometimes when you win, the menu is being called by the player, but when you lose, it's being called by whatever the enemy is. So here I'm in blue boss. I'll just get remove from parent, and I'll put this here. I'm gonna do the same thing for my warrior blueprint. Remove from parent, and put that along with the retry chain. And I think in battle menu I can get player controller. This is where I can hide the mouse, because otherwise I would need to put it everywhere in each boss and every player blueprint. So set show mouse cursor and put it to hidden. Now let's do one more test. If it works out fine, then we're gonna move on to coming back to this main menu. So you notice that I had to click to play my animation. Let's say I'm gonna get revived here. All I would need is a play anim montage, so my character doesn't stay stuck in lying down on the floor until I click. I'm gonna call power up. And I think this pretty much covers it up. I don't know if there's anything else left for the retry. So you hit me. Perfect. If you wanted the player to start moving after, then you would probably need another branch somewhere. I don't know, you would need a variable. Or maybe you can modify this here, alive, and only set it true after. you put the initialize event like so. Put a delay, connect this stuff up, so as soon as he's done playing the animation, you can start moving around. And that's pretty much it. So what's left for the menus is to go back to main screen and to press enter to pause or something. Now finally for the menu button, I already did it, so I'm not going to reconstruct it. What I will do is a breakdown. It pretty much uses the same notions we've applied in the retry button and other previous videos. What I need you to open is the game instance for Arena. I need you to open the level blueprint, the BPI menu, battle menu, warrior blueprint, and boss blueprint. Come to think of it, BPI menu probably won't need it, so you can close that actually. Oh wait, never mind. Let's go. So in Arena game instance, I made a custom event. I made an event dispatcher here, and I called it reset menu. Then I dragged it here and I called it. So that's set. That's what you gotta do in the game instance. Next, in the level blueprint, add event begin play, and unload all levels. I put this back to menu. So I did get game instance, cast to Arena GI, and then I dragged out and I typed bind, and I bind event to reset menu. I create a custom event that does very much the same thing as event begin play. It's gonna unload a stream level and do all this crazy stuff. Once that's done, in battle menu. So what battle menu does, this is my menu button. It's gonna get actor of all class, and here it's set to character. And you're gonna call, this is where we needed the BPI menu, which I thought we didn't, but we do, because you need a function here called back to menu. And here you're gonna message that function the same way pretty much we did with this. They're pretty much the same nodes. Here you want to show the mouse cursor, then you get actors of all class, and for each loop you drag this out and type for each loop. Then from here you go cast a dummy. You may get this warning, and I think it's because item is already a dummy, meaning that when you're a player you're already this, so you don't need to cast to it. I think that's what it means, I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna look into this and offer a fix if it causes problems further down the line. Then you want to possess that dummy, because don't forget that when you start the game you're possessing a dummy. Finally here you put remove from parent, and you get game instance, cast to Arena GI, and back to menu, this event in our Arena GI, you're going to call it. So once that's done, you go into your warrior blueprint, you want that event back to menu, which we made right here in our BPI menu. So event back to menu will remove the HUD, the warrior HUD from parent, and it will destroy the actor. Then you want the same thing in the blue boss. So you have the same event, you remove his HUD from parent, so it's no longer on screen, and then you destroy the actor. Once all of that is done, here's your result. If ever you can't get the chain to work because I screwed something up, write it in the comments and I'll offer a fix. So here I'm starting the game, he's gonna come attack me. Boom. Now I'm gonna go back to menu. There. Now here I could, if I load the blue level again. There, I initialize the boss again and he's gonna come attack me once more. So if I go back to menu again and load the red level this time. Here, I'm in the red level. So this pretty much closes the loop. Now what would be missing is pressing enter and accessing a start menu where you can select to go back to menu or retry. Now that's what I'm going to do next. So the last thing I'm going to cover in this video is pause menus. So the way it's going to work is you need to go into your Arena game instance, you need to make an event dispatcher and a variable. Now here I called it can pause, and you click on the little eye. Now you make a custom event and you drag your event dispatcher and you call. So here it is. Next, you go into your map, the one with everything we had here, the main map, persistent level. Now, between event begin play and unload all levels, you need to get game instance and you need to cast to it. Now you're gonna bind that event dispatcher to an event. So here I called it reset menu. And reset menu is gonna go down the same path as event begin play did. So it's gonna go through all the stuff to the side. Next, to pause the game, you need to get a key. So me, it's enter. And here it says execute when paused. You need to enable this. It should be disabled for you. So you enable it. Then once again you cast your game instance and this variable can pause. You check if it's true. If it is, it means you're in the arena, you're in the game, because you shouldn't be able to access a pause menu when you're selecting stuff. Next, you check if the game is paused. If it is, well, you're gonna hide the mouse cursor, you're gonna unpause it, and you're gonna remove the widget. And if it isn't paused, this is when there's nothing on the screen. So you're gonna show the mouse cursor, pause the game, make the widget, and add it to viewport. Now, what else you need is this variable, for example, can pause. Here, for myself, I use the same trigger, just for demonstration, but you can have a trigger right below the player's feet. So when he hits it, it sends a signal to this blue level. And here's my trigger, just to show. That's the trigger. It's going to cast a game instance, and it's going to set can pause to true. So now I am able to pause. And last thing is, once the menu is open, you need to take performance and this performance progress bar and bind the visibility to one function. So this function and this function are the exact same one. Now going to that function, I promoted this to a variable and I called it performance bar visibility. In my event graph, this used to be right after event construct. Now we have all this. So event construct first checks if the game is paused. If it is, then it's gonna hide that performance bar and the letters. If it isn't paused, then it's gonna show them. So now you have two different menus. A menu that appears when you win or lose and when you pause. Next, for the retry button, what you need is after your code, you need to check if the game is paused, and if it is, you have to unpause it. You need to cast your game instance, and you can say that can pause is set to false now. And then you remove the widget from parent. For the menu button, you need to continue along with your chain here. You need to set can pause to false from the game instance. They need to check if the game is paused or not. If it is, well, you're going to unpause it. So this is the result. So here I hit enter, nothing happens. I load my level, jump into it, I hit the trigger, and I'm active. So I hit pause, and now I can resume. Now if I get hit, it's the exact same menu. So I'm just going to retry. And here I am. The boss is already initialized, so you see my menu. I'm going to go back to it. Everything's back to normal. When I hit enter, nothing happens. I'm going to jump back into the level and pause it and retry. There you go. You have a pause menu, you have a menu that appears and shows you win or lose. It's all set. So the game loop is pretty much complete, and in the next video I'm going to show a camera lockdown. And I think that's going to be pretty much it for the melee class and the boss. And all that's left is basically making the range character a mage character. I'm thinking of doing an archer and a summon. Anyway, once the last video is done, I'm going to tell you guys what's coming up next. So thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.